Enjoy your new home. My mother-in-law's voice dripped with satisfaction through my hospital room phone. I changed all the locks while you were getting your precious surgery. Amanda deserves this house more than you ever did. I lay in my hospital bed, still groggy from the anesthesia. But my mind was surprisingly clear. 6 hours of spinal surgery, and this is what I wake up to. My mother-in-law giving my house to my sister-in-law. Are you even listening? She demanded. We're having a little housewarming party right now. Everyone agrees Amanda should have it. After all, she's actually family. In the background, I could hear laughter, glasses clinking, and my sister-in-law Amanda's distinctive voice saying something about redecorating the master bedroom. My master bedroom. Thank you for letting me know, Patricia, I said calmly. The lack of reaction in my voice clearly threw her off. That's all you have to say, she sputtered. For now, enjoy the party. I hung up and closed my eyes, letting a small smile play across my lips. Patricia had no idea she just walked right into my trap. My name is Elizabeth Cooper, and at 34, I've spent the last 3 years watching my mother-in-law Patricia systematically try to push me out of the family. When my husband Michael died in a car accident 2 years ago, she became convinced that I had no right to keep the house he and I had shared. The fact that I'd helped pay for it, renovated it, and turned it into a home meant nothing to her. Family property should stay in the family, she'd say at every opportunity, staring pointedly at me. By family, she meant her precious daughter Amanda, my sister-in-law, who'd never worked a day in her life but somehow deserved everything more than I did. The worse my back problems got, a deteriorating disc condition that finally required surgery, the more Patricia circled like a vulture. She'd bring Amanda to family dinners, have her help with my housework when the pain was too bad, all while making it clear that Amanda could handle the house better. But Patricia made one crucial mistake. She thought my quiet acceptance of her behavior meant I was weak. She had no idea that every snide comment, every manipulative move, every attempt to push me out had been carefully documented, photographed, and filed away. I reached for my phone again, this time calling my lawyer David. They did exactly what we expected, I said when he answered. Patricia changed the locks and moved Amanda in while I was in surgery. They're having a party right now. Perfect, David replied, and I could hear him shuffling papers. The security cameras caught everything. Every moment, I confirmed, including Patricia using the spare key she claimed she'd lost last month. 6 months ago, when my back pain had become nearly unbearable, I'd started preparing. I knew Patricia would make her move when I was at my most vulnerable, so I'd installed security cameras throughout the house, documenting every conversation, every threat, every time Patricia brought prospective buyers by when she thought I was at physical therapy. What about the property transfer documents? David asked. Still locked in my office safe. The ones Patricia thinks she found in my desk drawer are very convincing copies. I smiled, remembering how I'd left them there as bait, watching through the cameras as she discovered them 2 weeks ago. The documents suggested that Michael had left the house jointly to Amanda and me, something Patricia had been desperately trying to prove since his death. She'd been so excited by her discovery that she never bothered to verify their authenticity. Your mother-in-law is in for quite a surprise, David said. The real documents, plus the footage of her breaking in and attempting to transfer property under false pretenses. She's going to regret this little housewarming party. I heard more laughter floating through the phone from the party happening in my house. Patricia's voice carried clearly. Finally, the house is back with its rightful owner. No more putting up with that gold-digging widow. Let them celebrate, I said quietly. Everything is falling into place exactly as we planned. Rest up and focus on your recovery, David advised. I'll file everything first thing Monday morning. Do you want me to send the cease and desist letter to the house or Patricia's address? The house, I decided. I want Amanda to see it too. They should both understand exactly what they walked into. After hanging up, I adjusted my hospital bed and looked out the window at the setting sun. 2 years of watching, waiting, and documenting every move Patricia made. 2 years of playing the grieving, passive widow while she plotted to take everything Michael and I had built together. The nurse came in to check my vitals, frowning at my elevated heart rate. Try to stay calm, she advised. You need to rest after major surgery. If only she knew that my racing pulse had nothing to do with pain and everything to do with anticipation. Patricia thought she was finally getting her victory, giving my home to her daughter, while I was too weak to fight back. Little did she know, every decoration they hung, every celebration drink they poured, every moment they spent plotting in my house was being recorded, documented, and added to the already substantial case against them. I picked up my phone one last time, looking at the security camera feed from my house. Patricia and Amanda were in my living room, already measuring for new curtains. The party guests, mostly Patricia's friends, were wandering through my home like they owned it, probably all congratulating themselves on finally getting rid of me. "Enjoy it while you can," I whispered, turning off the feed. "You have no idea what's coming. Let them have their party. Let them think they've won. On Monday morning, they'd learn exactly why you should never underestimate a quiet woman with a good lawyer and a long memory." I closed my eyes, finally allowing myself to rest. For the first time since Michael's death, I felt at peace. Patricia's time was running out, and justice was about to be served. The following Monday morning, I was still in the hospital focusing on my recovery when David's text arrived. Papers delivered, waiting for the fireworks. Right on cue, my phone rang. Patricia's name flashed on the screen, but this time her voice wasn't smug. It was shrill with panic. "What is the meaning of this?" she demanded. These papers the lawyer just delivered. This has to be a joke." I adjusted my hospital bed, making myself comfortable for what promised to be an interesting conversation. "Oh, you mean the cease and desist letter? The evidence of breaking and entering? The fraudulent attempt to transfer property? No, Patricia, it's not a joke. But the documents, I found them in your desk. The house belongs to Amanda too." Her voice cracked with desperation. "Those documents?" I couldn't help but smile. "The ones you stole from my desk when you thought I was at physical therapy? Check the letterhead carefully, Patricia. They're quite convincing copies, aren't they?" The silence on the other end was deafening. I could almost see her frantically examining the papers she found, finally noticing the subtle inconsistencies we planted. You set this up," she whispered. "I had a lot of time to think during those sleepless nights when my back pain was at its worst," I explained calmly. "Time to watch you and Amanda plotting, measuring my furniture, planning how you'd redecorate once you got rid of me. The security cameras caught everything, by the way. Every conversation, every unauthorized entry, every potential buyer you brought through my house." "Security cameras?" Her voice rose an octave. "What security cameras?" "The ones I installed 6 months ago. They're very discreet. I'm not surprised you didn't notice them. The footage is quite compelling, especially the part where you used that spare key you claimed you'd lost." Through the phone, I heard Amanda in the background, her voice panicked. "Mom, there's someone at the door with more papers." "That would be the formal eviction notice," I said. "You have 48 hours to vacate my property and return my keys. All copies of them." "You can't do this," Patricia sputtered. "We've already moved Amanda's things in. We had a party." "Yes, I know about the party. I have that on camera too, including your lovely speech about the gold-digging widow finally being gone. The judge will find that particularly interesting." The sound of papers rustling came through the phone, followed by Amanda's increasingly hysterical voice. "Mom, these papers, they're talking about criminal charges. Breaking and entering, attempted property theft, harassment. David warned me not to tell you this," I continued, "but the security footage has already been submitted to the police. They're very interested in the pattern of behavior it shows." Patricia's breathing had become shallow and rapid. "The police? But we're family." "Family?" I let out a bitter laugh. "Is that what you call it? Since Michael died, you've tried to drive me out of my own home, spread rumors about me in the community, and attempted to steal my property. That's not family, Patricia. That's criminal behavior." "I'll tell everyone what you've done," she threatened, but her voice wavered. "How you set us up, trapped us." "Go ahead," I replied calmly. "Show them the footage. Let them watch you breaking into my house, mocking me while I was in surgery, celebrating taking advantage of someone who was physically vulnerable. I'm sure they'll be very sympathetic." Amanda's voice came through again, closer this time. "Mom, we need to leave. Now, these papers say if we're not out in 48 hours, they'll press criminal charges." "Listen to your daughter, Patricia," I advised. "Pack your things and go. The security cameras are still running, and every minute you spend in my house is more evidence against you. This isn't over, Patricia hissed, but the fear in her voice was evident. Actually, it is. Oh, and Patricia, the rose bushes you dug up yesterday to make room for Amanda's new garden. The ones Michael and I planted on our first anniversary. Add destruction of property to the list of charges. David will be in touch with the full bill for damages. I hung up, letting out a long breath. Through my hospital room window, I could see the morning sun shining brightly. Somewhere across town, Patricia and Amanda were facing the consequences of their actions, finally understanding that their perfect plan had backfired spectacularly. My phone buzzed again. A text from my next-door neighbor. Moving trucks just pulled up. Your MIL and SIL are throwing things into boxes like the house is on fire. Whatever you did, it worked. I smiled, sending back a quick thank you. Mary had been my eyes and ears throughout this ordeal, one of the few people who'd seen through Patricia's manipulations from the start. The physical therapist arrived for my morning session, finding me in better spirits than she'd seen in months. You're glowing today, she observed. Good news. Just justice being served, I replied, ready to begin my exercises. For the first time since my surgery, the future looked bright and properly aligned, just like my healing spine. 2 weeks after my surgery, I finally returned home. The house was eerily quiet. No more sounds of Amanda's constant chatter or Patricia's critical comments about my decorating choices. The moving trucks had taken everything they brought in during their brief occupation, leaving only a few scuff marks on my hardwood floors as evidence of their attempted takeover. My neighbor Mary helped me settle back in, making sure I was comfortable as I continued my recovery. You should have seen them leave, she said, bringing me a cup of tea. Patricia was crying about how ungrateful you were. But she couldn't get out fast enough once those police cars showed up to supervise the eviction. I sat in my favorite armchair, the one Amanda had planned to throw out because it didn't match her vision, and smiled. Did they take everything they brought? Every last piece, Mary confirmed. Though Patricia made quite a scene about the garden. She actually tried to dig up the new plants they put in, but the police told her to leave everything as it was. The doorbell rang and David walked in, carrying a thick folder. Good to see you up and about, he said, settling into the chair opposite me. I have updates. How bad is it for them? I asked, though I already had a good idea. They're facing multiple charges, he replied, opening the folder. Breaking and entering, attempted property theft, harassment. The security footage was damning, especially combined with the documented history of their behavior since Michael's death. The DA is particularly interested in the pattern of taking advantage of someone with a medical condition. I nodded, thinking about all the times Patricia had used my back pain against me, positioning Amanda as the healthy alternative who could properly manage the house. There's more, David continued. Several of Patricia's friends who attended that housewarming party have come forward. Apparently, she'd been bragging about her plan to take advantage of your surgery to seize the house. They're willing to testify. And Amanda, facing lesser charges, but she's not getting off easy. Her text messages to Patricia, which we recovered, show she was a willing participant in the scheme. She's already offered to pay for the damage to your garden as part of a plea deal. I looked out at the backyard, where Michael's and my rose bushes had been carelessly uprooted. It was never about the garden, I said quietly. It was about respect. About honoring Michael's memory and the life we built here. David nodded understandingly. Speaking of Michael, he said, pulling out another document, the trust he set up, the one Patricia never knew about. It's now fully accessible. You can start the renovation work you two planned whenever you're ready. Tears welled up in my eyes. Michael and I had dreamed of adding a sunroom, creating a space where we could watch the sunset together. After his death, I put those plans aside, too focused on defending our home from his family's schemes. Patricia and Amanda are prohibited from contacting you, David continued. The restraining order is in effect. They can't come within 500 feet of the property. Later that evening, after David left, I sat in the backyard watching the sunset. The space where our rose bushes had been looked empty, but I already had plans for new plants, not to replace the memories, but to create new ones. My phone buzzed with a text from Amanda. I'm sorry. I know it doesn't fix anything, but I'm sorry. I didn't respond. Some bridges, once burned, shouldn't be rebuilt. A week later, I received an invitation to a family gathering from Patricia's sister, Jane. Her message was clear. What Patricia and Amanda did was wrong, but you're still family to some of us. I thought about it for a long time before replying. Thank you, but my family is the one I choose now. The one that respects boundaries and honors Michael's memory. As my back healed and strength returned, I began planning the sunroom addition. The contractor started work in the spring, and by summer, I had the perfect space to watch the sunset, surrounded by new rose bushes and the memories of the life Michael and I had shared. Patricia and Amanda eventually moved to another state, their reputation in our community thoroughly destroyed. Sometimes I heard snippets about them through mutual acquaintances. Patricia's bitter complaints about her ungrateful daughter-in-law. Amanda's struggles to find work with a record. But their stories weren't mine anymore. I had reclaimed not just my house, but my peace. The security cameras stayed up, not out of fear, but as a reminder that sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one you should watch out for. On what would have been Michael's and my anniversary, I sat in our new sunroom, surrounded by blooming roses and the warm glow of sunset. You would have loved this view, I whispered to his memory, and you would have been proud of me for fighting back. The house was quiet again, but this time it was a peaceful quiet, the kind that comes with knowing you've stood your ground and won, not just the battle for your home, but for your dignity and self-respect.